Hey, are you a teacher who did not get trained on how to teach children to sing when you were in your university program? Well, you are in the right place. This series is all about learning how to teach littler kids, how to sing and sing well, to stop shouting, to sing with a beautiful, gentle tone, and to make sure that they are using their artistic, beautiful voices to make music. If you are all about that, please stick around because that's what this video is about. In the first video of this series, we talked about teaching children about their voice. How does their voice work? Helping them to find where it is. In this video, we're going to warm up their voices, ready to go, just like a high-level athlete, so that they don't hurt themselves with their voices and they really truly understand how to use their voices to change the pitch higher and lower and make a beautiful artistic tone. There's 5 different areas for a really thorough warm-up, and you'll pick and choose different ones of those depending on your own kids and the time you have and all kinds of different decisions. But there's 5 different areas, so I've marked those as you go along. There should be timestamps down below, and you can go directly to the one that you are interested in. If this is the first time finding my videos, welcome. My name is Pam Wilson. I'm an elementary music teacher in Northern Virginia, and I am so passionate about helping other teachers be their best selves, unlocking their teaching potential, and really being the best teachers that they can be. So stick around. I'm providing these videos to help you. So I hope that this is helpful to you. If it is, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the videos and subscribe so that the algorithm likes all of this. And also consider sharing this with a friend if you think that that would be helpful for them as well. I said I was going to teach you some simple ways to teach kids to sing. So the first thing that you do is you teach them to respect their voice as an instrument and you warm it up. So that's the first step to really developing yourself as a singer. The next is to really understand how that voice works. So with the littlest kids, we talk about singing voice, talking voice, shouting voice, and whisper voice. But as the kids get older, we can refine that information. So about starting maybe 3rd grade, I start introducing the idea of registers, vocal registers. So I love how the Share the Music series talks about the light register and the heavy register. I learned it as head voice and chest voice. You may have also heard that. There's articles I've read where there's like 5 different registers. Kids don't need to know about all of that. That's for a private voice lesson or a more advanced study of it. But at their level, they need to know there's a light register and a heavy register. So when I first started introducing this, I just speak to them in my light register. They all look at me like I've lost my mind, and they can't figure out why I'm talking this way. And I explained to them that in many other cultures, this is the way that people use their voices. They use a very light voice like this, and they're very happy to explain things this way. And then I switch into my heavier register and I say, in America, this is normally the voice that we use. But we can also switch back and forth depending on what we're trying to say. And if you want to be very expressive, then you would use many different kinds of voices. And then they're like, oh, I get it. Because it's way more interesting if you use different kinds of voices speaking. Well, guess what? In our voices, when we sing, it's the same. When we sing, we use lighter register and heavier register depending on what we're singing. Oh, some lights start going off. So when I'm using my light register, that's usually for a higher note. When I'm using my heavier register, it's more for a lower note. And then there's this kind of weird space in the middle that you kind of have to figure out. Ah, okay. Well, let's try that solfege again. See if we can figure out where those registers are. And so I run through the solfege again, and I ask them to notice when we were singing sol, la, sol, mi. Was that a light register or a heavy register? Oh, that was a light register. When we were going do, re, do, What was that? Oh, that was the heavier register. Yeah. So we need to use our whole voice. Now, let me take a little aside and let's talk about pitch and talk about the key that you use to sing with your children. A lot of teachers who are not vocally trained try to have their kids sing way lower than they should. Remember that these are young children and their vocal cords are very short. That means they're very high. So you need to sing with them in a high enough key that is a natural thing for them to sing. If you're trying to make them sing super, super low, you're going to push their voice, you're going to hurt their voice, and you're going to make it almost impossible for some of the kids to sing on pitch. I recommend the key of D or higher for most grades. Now, 5th and 6th graders, I tend to go to the key of C because their voices are starting to drop. But D or even F is great for these younger kids. So if you're singing so la so mi, that means that mi is on an F sharp and so is on an A and la is on a B. And if that is not comfortable for you to sing, first of all, develop your voice. That's true talk right here. Develop your voice. That's not that high for most adults. If you're a male singer or you happen to have a very low voice, then you're going to need to sing an octave below them or find your light register. Work on that. Make sure that they know what it is they're supposed to match. It's way easier for younger kids to match a voice than it is to match a piano. True talk. If you cannot match that voice, try it on a recorder or some other instrument that that plays the exact same notes that they do, so that they're not having to both translate an octave and translate the note. But you can figure that out because you're a pro. Talking about vocal registers and practicing vocal registers is two different things. When I usually do this particular unit, it's right around Veterans Day, and we usually have some patriotic songs that we sing during that time period. So whether it be from the youngest kids singing Grand Old Flag to all the way up to Lift Every Voice and Sing and the National Anthem and America the Beautiful, there are all kinds of songs in there that use many different registers. So as you use whatever songs you're using in your curriculum, now's the time to point out which part of the voice are we using for this section? Which part of the voice are we using for that section? Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. Heavy register. America, America. Light register. And when you start helping them to see which part of their voice they need to be singing in, they're much more likely to be singing on pitch. But they're not all singing on pitch, are they? Nope. Nope, they aren't. Because they don't know all of the different ways that they have to know, am I singing on pitch or not? I find that they have to be taught to listen, then think, and then sing. So the first thing they have to do is listen. So they listen for a reference pitch, and then they listen for their pitch. So the reference pitch, do, their pitch, do, that's called in tune. For some kids, you have to define that for them. You might say, everybody knows that that's in tune. Well, no, they don't. The reason why they know that is because somebody taught them that. That is our job, to teach them that. So do, they're like, yeah, that's on pitch. All right, what if the reference note, the singing reference note could be a singer, could be a piano, could be a xylophone, could be a recorder, a trumpet. The reference note, do, and the person sings do. Is it on pitch? No, does not match. It's too high. That's right, it's too high. So you're helping them to identify, oh, okay. So here's the reference note, do, here's the note, do. On pitch? No, it is too low. That's right. So now we start to say, oh, okay, I'm going to listen for that. But how do you know? And I ask them that question, how do you know that you're singing the right pitch or the wrong pitch? Because you can hear the other pitch, but how do you hear yourself? Because the way that we hear ourselves is not the way we actually sound. Who's ever heard a recording of themselves singing? And this is where cringing happens in the world all over the place. Your entire class is like, oh, I never sound like myself. It's not the same. That's right. But to you, it sounds weird. To everybody else, it sounds exactly like you. What? That's crazy. Well, that's because you're actually inside your head and we are outside your head. And I'm like, what kind of crazy talk you do? Let's practice something. So I have them take their hand and just cover their whole ear. If they cover their whole ear, there's lots of different ways to do this, but cover your whole ear. Okay. So now let's try that singing again. So, la, so, mi. So, mi, do, do. Right? And you slowly do that. I'm doing it quite quickly in this video, but nice and slowly. So, mi, do. Give their brain a chance to catch up with the pitches. And you ask them, can you hear your voice? Oh, I can hear my voice. I always have somebody say that they can't. And there are other ways to do it if you can. So that's one way. And I say, great, you can hear yourself. Now you can hear the reference pitch out of this ear, but you can hear yourself out of this side. Now, another way, I tell them, well, if that kind of bothers you, another way is to close your ear using this little flap. One way is to cup your ear like this. I've even had people put their hand in front like this when they're singing so la, and it kind of bounces the sound over. So we're really playing with the acoustics so that they can hear their sound. If you still have kids say they can't hear themselves, there's some external things you can use. Some PVC pipes, a U-joint on a PVC pipe you can hold. During COVID, I made some dryer vent horns, I don't know what they're called. Dryer vent. I took some dryer vent and I cut it up and I put some duct tape, because it's a dryer duct tape on the edge to make it so the wires don't stick out. And then they love those because they're collapsible. And they're like, what? And I have a little container of those. And when I present this, I have them all play with it. And then I leave that container out and I go, anytime you need to check your voice and make sure that you're singing on pitch, this is here for you. These are tools that you can use. And if I'm hearing them in the future and I go, some of you aren't quite on pitch. Anybody want to get one of these and check themselves or do our little listen-y thing? Oh, yeah. And then they listen again and they can get a little bit better. If you ask them to reach that level, they can do it. But you have to teach them that this is a skill that you are working on. It's not just we're singing because whatever. This is a skill. I expect you to work on this skill. You can get good at this. This is not about natural talent. We work on it and we get better at it. That's growth mindset in a nutshell. In this video, we started with vocal registers so that the kids could understand like what is happening with their voice and where to sing low notes and where to sing high notes. And that leads into matching pitch. So we talked about how very young kids can't necessarily match pitch. It's an imagination thing. But as their brains develop and they get to be 9 or 10 years old, that generally pretty much everybody can start matching pitch. This is the key. If you've watched all 3 of these videos, and if you haven't watched the other 2, I'll have the links down below so you can go check those out. But these 3 videos really should give you a foundation as a newer teacher, or especially as a teacher who comes from an instrumental background, to really help your children to develop their voices. Singing is a skill just like anything else. It needs to be practiced. So I encourage you as a teacher to plan singing activities every single time you're with your students. It could just be a hello song and a goodbye song, and then you have other things in the middle, but please sing with your children as often as you can. This is how you develop their voices, and this is how you get to a place where your admin stops by and says, wow, those kids sound really good. And your parents, when you have a performance, they say, oh, those kids are sounding amazing. I don't even know what you're doing, but good job. I want you to be successful. That's my job as a coach and as a teacher mentor. I love helping people like you to unlock your teaching potential so that you really can thrive in the classroom. You can have a joyful and exciting and really fun experience making music with your students. Thank you for coming by. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that. It helps the algorithm, and pass this on to a friend so that we can share the wealth. Have a great day.